This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Hello and welcome back to the Research Talks podcast here on Stockbox with Alan Green. Alan, how are you doing? I know we missed a week last week. Things were a little bit quiet generally, but how are things going with you?
Very good, thanks, Mark. Again, it's a 4-day week. It's been a mad, crazy week. And yesterday, well, for me personally, it was one of the busiest days I've ever had, which seems ridiculous, given that we are in a quiet period. But I think the companies we work with who are clients, it just all happens. So as these things often do, plus we're at the end of the VAT quarter, we're lots of other stuff too. So yeah, I was surgically attached to my desk and screens for pretty well all the day. So
okay.
Yeah, I was not in the best of moods this evening, but
okay.
Anyway,
well, you get a celebratory weekend, don't you? I mean, as you know, and
yes,
as a lot of people know, I fly to Johannesburg tomorrow on my way to Zimbabwe to visit Premier African Minerals. But of course, the UK will be in full swing of party, won't they, for the coronation? So I'm actually going to miss it, but I'm sure I'll catch the highlights. We plan to do lots of media from site and some live streaming, hopefully on that Bank Holiday Monday. So at least the people in the UK get that extra bit of holiday and time to wind down. So that's nice.
Looking forward to another 3-day weekend, and I have to say, where we are in Seaford, the bunting is already out on several houses.
Excellent.
So I think there's going to be lots of celebrating the coronation, and I wouldn't say I'm an avid royalist, but I think Charles has done a good job, and I think it's good that we're celebrating his accession to the throne.
Well, it's certainly very interesting, isn't it? We're probably not going to see it. We might see it again in our lifetime, but very few people get to see a coronation. So it should. Hopefully, it's Britain on its full and best display. But
stirring stuff. Let's hope so.
Indeed.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
Well, let's talk today about a couple of companies then, Alan. We're going to cover Drums PLC, they're actually going to change their name, aren't they? I think to Acuity Risk Management. It's all to do with software as a service, but you can tell us all about that. And of course, Truspine as well.
Indeed, two very interesting companies with, and again, we've often spoken about simple investment propositions. Being able to look at a company and see exactly what they do, and both companies very much fall into this category. So, starting with Drums. Drums is that's the name of the company at the moment. But as you rightly pointed out, they have just announced or recently announced that. With the readmission to the AIM market following the acquisition, they'll be changing their name to Acuity Risk Management Group, and the EPIC code will be ACRM. So just some history here on Acuity Risk Management. So this is a company that was founded by Simon Marvell and Richard Mayle back in the early noughties. It's a company that specializes in governance, risk management, and compliance, or GRC, which is the acronym. GRC software using its award-winning Stream platform. Now, the GRC market, and again, we've looked at areas like compliance and ESG and others, and the GRC market is a huge market. It was worth some $14 billion in 2022, but it's estimated to rise to as much as $27 billion by 2027. So it's a big market, and Acuity Risk Management are very much embedded in that market and have been for some time. And this is something that was recognized by Drums, which was previously an investment company. It was run by Angus Forrest, who is a well-known tech investor and CEO of a number of tech companies over the years. I've met Angus on and spoken with him on a number of occasions. And he has overseen, if you like, the acquisition of and the embedding of Acuity Risk Management into the listed vehicle. And this started back in September 2020 when Drums PLC acquired a 20% stake in Acuity Risk Management for £500,000. The following year, it exercised its option to acquire a further 5% for £125,000, and that's all the way up to the 5th of April, when, of course, the company issued 45 million shares, changed its name from Drums to Acuity Risk Management Group, and also raised 1.4 million at 4.5p. This transaction also sees Drums acquire the balance of Acuity, of course. So it's a wholly owned company for 3.6 million, effectively an RTO for 3.6 million, which consists of 0.5 million, £500,000 cash and 46 million shares at 6.75p. So when the company comes to market, it will have a market capitalization of about 3.5 million. And in fact, no, slightly more than that. My apologies. It will be more than that because of course, the additional money raised. The company is also in this process, in this transitional process to a fully listed entity, operating company. It's appointed Kerry Chambers as Chief Operating Officer, and Kerry Chambers has been with Acuity for many years, worked alongside Simon Marvell, the founder and exec director, to develop group sales and grow the group business. So a bit of a further look at Acuity. So it derives its revenues from two sources. The first one is software licensing. Its Stream platform is sold as software as a service or as a private cloud delivery on what typically is a 3-year license. So there are also the secondary revenue source comes from professional services, and this falls into 4 categories: consultancy, where the team go in and confirm requirements and needs of the company, then they design the Stream platform or adapt it to take into account the business processes that go on with that company. Then the build takes place and the configuration, of course, working alongside people in the company to train them up to use the software, and then, of course, final test and handover. And what we've seen with this company is a steadily growing business. So subscription revenues grew from 1.1 million in the year to March 2021 to 1.3 million in the year to March 2022. And typically the spread of sales is predominantly UK, 67% UK, 15% into Europe, 15% USA and Canada, and 3% for the rest of the world. But Simon Marvell and the team see huge potential to take and really develop the market in North America. And obviously, with the size of that GRC market, rising from 14 billion to 27 billion by 2027, they're well positioned now as a listed company to take full advantage of that. And certainly what we've seen over the past year is real growth in revenues. So at 28th of February 2023, monthly revenues had risen to £140,000 from £130,000 in September 22. Full contracted revenues of 2.17 million as opposed to 1.9 million in September last year. So this is real growth over the past few months, and a really real growth in the sales pipeline. At 22nd of March 2023, there was a sales pipeline of 3.83 million compared to 1.67 million September last year. So what we're seeing is this acceleration in growth, and of course, timing wise, it's great because the company's coming to market to really give it strength, give it collateral in its own stock, so it can add to, or it can build on those contract wins, possibly make further acquisitions too, and grow the business. So of course, this is going forward. What's always nice to see is that the founders are still very much engaged with the business. Simon Marvell, the founder and executive director, is still key in the business, and after the company comes to market, he will still own 26.15% of the business and have options over another 1.7 million shares. And that's very important. You know, you want to see directors and founders with skin in the game. So what is good to see is this company has evolved from that original company in the early noughties, is now a listed entity. Simon Marvell still very much in control of the business, and obviously a major shareholder, keeping his stake and overseeing this exponential growth that being a listed company will deliver. And of course, that's alongside Angus Forrest, who is the chief executive of the listed entity. Simon Bennett, another long-standing tech entrepreneur and very well known in the city and in financial circles. He's the chairman. Richard Mail, the founder, as I say, he still retains just over an 11% stake in the business. So that I think is very important, and it's good to see that as the company starts its life as a fully listed entity, we've still got the founders very much at the helm and very much in control. So I think this company's got a very exciting future, particularly taking into account the numbers or the growth in numbers in terms of sales, renewal rate, and the sales pipeline going forward.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Alan, for that. It's a bit of a different company, isn't it? Isn't it, to what we normally talk about, software as a service here, rather than miners or crypto or something like that we often talk about. But yeah, I mean, the software as a service model is something that's quite popular going forward, isn't it? And very, I mean, you've seen a lot of companies go down this way, this subscription model to get regular revenues. I mean, is there anything, have you looked at any comparators on the market for software as a service companies?
Well, I think there are plenty of comparators around, but as you rightly say, you know, if you look at any service nowadays, I mean, we see companies that are very much have a strong sales teams using CRM models, you know, where everything is the CRM system controls the sales process, how those salespeople report back to the company. So the numbers can be managed, and there's good visibility on an ongoing basis. But of course, as other areas develop, you know, the governance, risk management, and compliance area, it's hugely important for companies. And of course, when you've got a piece of an adaptable software suite that can be applied to so many different businesses, you've got a team that tailors that software offering to that particular business. That's a really strong business model. And I think, you know, this hasn't just been invented overnight. You know, the stream software platform's been running for since the early noughties, and of course, it's undergone evolution during that time, and will continue to undergo evolution. And of course, as a result of the readmission, the company's now got a much bigger war chest to further invest into developing the software, further invest into its sales efforts, and of course, you know, possibly make acquisitions in the sector as well. So you know, it's a very exciting time, and I think this is a key area. You know, we mentioned ESG. I mean, in the coming weeks, I'll be talking about another company that's engaged very much in investing into the ESG area. But certainly, you know, I think what Angus Forrest, Simon Marvell, and the team have done here in bringing this company to market, you know, from an original investment to then using that investment or listed investment vehicle to become the listed entity, I think that's a master stroke. I really do.
Excellent. Well, yes, it sounds certainly like a very interesting investment proposition. I'm going to be talking to Angus and someone else in the business in the next few days, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, as they move over to the market, or relist, I suppose, under the new name, then yeah, they've got access to the capital, and let's see how they do. But yeah, Salesforce is another company that sort of springs to mind, the kind of software as a service model.
Yeah, Salesforce. That's it.
It's a very big one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for that, Alan. So let's move on to the other company then. That's Truspine.
Truspine. So this is again, you know, I talk about you know, the simplicity of the investment proposition, and again, this is a dead simple offering. So Truspine is an Aquis listed company. The epic code, of course, is TSP, and the company has a focus on the spinal or vertebral stabilization market. And I think I have an issue with my back, and it's a very common issue. You have to manage your back pain, or manage the issues that you have with your back. And of course, there are many issues that can be resolved without surgery. So what Truspine have is patented technology, and they own the IP on this for three products: Cervilock, which is a product for the cervical and upper thoracic spine; Fascilock, which is for the lumbar and lower thoracic spine; and then grasp laminoplasty, which is a treatment for decompression of the spinal cord. And this is where a lot of spinal problems come, because the bones change shape as you get older, or the cartilages shrink and puts pressure on the spinal cord. So there are a number of solutions here. Now, this is a huge marketplace. The current global spinal devices market is estimated at some $10 billion per annum, and is expected to grow by at least 3% compound annual growth rate, at least 3%, all the way through to 2026. So again, we're seeing growth. We spoke about growth in the GRC market just now. This is a huge market as well. So Truspine's devices, represent a potentially significant step forward in spinal fixation. So they provide stabilization without altering the bony spinal anatomy of patients, and this is through the use of screws, staples, or other devices that currently dominate the spinal market. So it's a much cleaner, less invasive system. If you go to the Truspine website, and that's truspine.org, and you look at the spinal fixation devices page, you'll see at a glance, and this is the great thing about this offering, you'll see at a glance exactly how it works. There are some great images there which just explain very clearly, without having to read the text, in fact, how the products work. So the company's seeking regulatory clearance from the US FDA for its Cervilock products, there have been some delays in the finalization of the FDA 510(k) admission. This is to do with compression testing, which of course is the main test required by the FDA. But the tests have been successfully completed, and they're now ready for submission to the FDA by the independent testing facility. Once that's completed, Truspine will then subsequently seek clearance for Fascilock and grasp laminoplasty. So there has been, however, this progress that has been outlined by the company with the devices hasn't been reflected in the share price, and in fact, the company's undergone a very turbulent time since it came to market. And if you look at the chart, you can see the last year, the share price has come all the way down from highs of nearly 10p last year down to 1p where we currently are, or actually 0.85p is the mid price. There's a very good reason behind this. There was a lot of dissatisfaction with the way the previous board were running the business, and a lot of the major shareholders moved to restructure the business. And on 28th of February, the then chief executive, Ian Roberts, resigned from his role as director of the company. And in his place, Lawrence Strauss was appointed as acting MD. And subsequently, on the 5th of April, he was appointed chief executive and director of the company. The company's then non-exec chairman also resigned with immediate effect. So there has been a lot of uncertainty with the changes, but the company, the reason share price has fallen is, of course, because there's uncertainty over funding as much as anything else. But the company has a loan agreement and has received £200,000. Non-exec director Annabelle Schild has also provided the company with a further £100,000 loan to the business. And the company also announced on the 25th of April, it anticipates a receipt of an R&D tax credit of about £200,000 by the end of Q2 2023. So that is also imminent. There's another issue as well. The guy that invented the devices in the first place is an American chap called Frank Boehm, and Frank Boehm, along with some American shareholders, has put in a requisition seeking to overturn the board, blaming the current board for all of the issues and all the problems. And obviously, that's you can take your view on that and view it however you will. But Lawrence Strauss and the new team have just come in to pick up the baton, as it were. So of course, there's no responsibility for what's happened previously with the company. No blame can be laid at the feet of the current board. So as it undergoes this transition, of course, the shareholder requisition document will have to be put to the board, and I've no doubt that there'll be a meeting at some point in the not too distant future where that issue will be resolved. But the majority of shareholders, I believe, are very much behind the company. And of course, going forward, the company has had and still owns today the IP. That's an indisputable fact. So based on that, depending on how adventurous you are as an investor at this juncture, I think Truspine represents a great investment opportunity. I mean, the market cap at the moment is derisory. It's worth just 1 million. And with this IP and with the FDA application about to be submitted and cleared for the Servi-Lock device, we're potentially the company will be potentially in a position to tap into that market. So I think certainly it will take a few more months for this to happen, but I think we could see an awful lot of action and a lot of activity in the stock in the coming weeks and months. But I would urge any investors interested in the technology, go and look at the website, because the website is very good, and the page in particular that covers the devices really does give a very clear picture of just what the company has. You can also see when you visit the website, of course, an update on the current board of directors, the new group financial officer and non-exec Annabelle Shields, and also Dr. Tim Evans, who is also a non-exec and advisor to the board as well. So a very exciting future, I think, for Truspine. As I say, it's absolutely rock bottom price wise at the moment. So take a look, and if you feel brave enough to invest at this point, I think once the shareholder issues are out of the way, then Truspine will offer a fantastic investment proposition going forward.
Okay, well, thank you for introducing that to us, Alan. Did you say brave enough to invest now? Do you think it's more of a speculative go at the moment?
Well, I think the thing is, because there is to all intents and purposes a battle going on. There was a requisition announcement that went out recently, outlining what these other investors would like to see happen with the company, and that's the fact is that they control a small percentage of the company, so they're going through the motions, and I think on the face of it, it just looks as if they're trying it on to see if they can get away with it, because the fact is the company owns the IP, it owns the technology, and that's it. That's an indisputable fact. It's the lawyers are very clear on this, and I've also spoken to Lawrence Strauss, and he's absolutely clear on the legal position of the company. So the company owns the IP, and it's really a question of whether these shareholders can have any impact on what the company does going forward. And once that's out of the way, then I think the company's got an incredibly bright future. But obviously, when Lawrence took over, he said, they faced a lot of challenges since taking over, but he has cut costs out. There were huge overheads, which also contributed to the fall in the share price. He's dealt with those, got on top of those, cut the costs out, and really started to fine tune the company, and also slim everything down so it's lean and mean and ready to deal with the FDA, the next steps that the FDA application will bring. So
Okay.
an awful lot's going to happen in the coming weeks and months anyway.
Okay, so some legacy issues there with some shareholders that are holding things up.
Yeah, that's it. Purely
Okay.
that. Yeah.
It's listed at the moment, is it, Alan? It's active or not?
Yes, it's active. You can buy the stock now.
Oh, it's the Aquis Exchange. My apologies. I'm looking on the LSE. Of course it is. It's the Aquis Exchange. Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. That's it. But as I say, it's on the access section of the Aquis market. But I'd urge investors or interested investors to go and look at the website, look at the board. The people behind this. Look at the page detailing the spinal fixation devices, Servilock, Fascilock, and the grasp laminoplasty. And I think you'll then see, just what potential this company has going forward.
Excellent. Well, thank you for introducing that to us, Alan. Of course, as you say, they own the IP. The product there looks pretty well developed. But you have these kind of problems. We've seen it before, haven't we, in companies where the sort of shareholder activism going on. It normally frustrates the process rather than makes anything better, really. So let's hope that gets wrapped up sooner rather than later. But hopefully it does. And if at the moment it's at a big discount because of this ongoing action, and like you say, if you're brave enough to have a go, then possibly worth it.
Well, I think looking at where the share price has been, of course, the share price previously reflected a little more, perhaps, the value that was in the business. But I say incompetence, the lack of activity from the previous administration, coupled with this the battles with these shareholders, has really contributed to the fall in the share price. And of course, the money's been spent, and of course now there's there was a temporary funding issue which looks to have been resolved. The company certainly has enough cash to keep going through this period, and of course, once these issues are resolved, then the company can take steps to go forward. But I think the value of the IP alone is many multiples of where the share price currently sits.
Well, thank you very much for giving us the investment case there, Alan, for both Truspine and, of course, Drummers PLC, soon to become Acuity Risk Management. And we'll catch up again. Well, I mean, actually, we can probably, I think the next time I will actually see you in person, won't I, at the UK Investor Show. So maybe we do like we did last year, live research talks from the UK Investor Show on Saturday the 13th.
Saturday 13th, yeah.
Providing I get back safely.
Yeah, Mark, have a good trip, and look forward to seeing the video clips from Premier.
Thank you, Alan. If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programmes at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.